Hello, hello. Hello and welcome to Mythbuster Mondays. I am your host, Abigail Wright. Let's just see if I've got everything coming in tonight. I always like to do a quick check to make sure I'm streaming in all the places I think I'm supposed to be and to make sure I have all the chats in front of me so I can see everybody. Hello to LinkedIn, hello to Facebook, hello to DLive, of course, and hello to Twitch and YouTube as well. Any of you joining me on my old Piece of Persistence website for YouTube, thanks for being here. I know it's been a while since I had one of those podcasts. It's been quite a while, in fact. I really loved doing the Piece of Persistence. Let's just do this. And it was a wonderful, wonderful podcast I got to do for quite some time. But then, life changes, things change, things adjust. And tonight we're talking about just that very thing. Tonight we are talking about how life cannot be prescribed, which is actually why at the moment, although I cannot see if I am streaming on Facebook. Facebook, stop being rude. I've got pirate music on. Yep, that's what you're hearing in the background. That is pirate music because I think my father's a sailor. And my father is a great example of somebody who, in many ways, knows that life cannot be prescribed. When I was 6 years old, he got us a sailboat. And Facebook, if anybody's hanging out with me on Facebook right now, I am so sorry. I, for some reason, can't seem to access my live stream on Facebook right now. So, if I'm not getting your comments, I'm really sorry about that. And if you're seeing this in the future, hey, thanks for joining us. To everyone else, please feel free to say hi. I can see your comments everywhere else in the world. The other reason I kind of stall for a little bit, honestly, is because we get these automatic notices in a little system called Discord. And if anybody wants to join my Discord so that you can see updates when I'm streaming and really anything else, please feel free to click on, hang on if I can get this in the chat. Please feel free to click on this link. Maybe I can get it in the chat. Copy, please. And chat, paste. Thank you. There is my Discord for all of you on YouTube and Twitch and DLive. There you are if you want. And now also it's on LinkedIn. Anybody who wants to join that community is more than welcome to do so. I've got some lovely, lovely people in there, and I would be happy to have you join us. Basically, it's really just for updates, let you know when I'm streaming, let you know what kind of streams I'll be doing. I did just restart my Ukulele Friday streams, so that's very exciting. And it does notify every time I start streaming. Eventually, usually within the first 5 minutes. So hopefully we'll get some folks coming to join us soon. In the meantime, I'm just going to get started tonight. Hello, DLive Grayson. Good to see you here. All the best fun types are there. It's true. It's true. he said pervy as well, but honestly, that's a little bit more on my Sexy Time Discord, which is another story altogether. That's my sex and relationship advice stream that I do every Tuesday night with BK Johnson from Japan. We have a really wonderful time on that. Shockingly, we're number 2 in the Philippines for sexuality podcasts, so that's kind of cool. I don't know how many sexuality podcasts are available in the Philippines, but I would imagine probably as many as there are here. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit tonight, so I'm just going to get to the point and get started. Tonight I wanted to talk about, thank you, D Live Grayson. Thank you for joining the Discord. I appreciate that. Good to have good people in there. So yeah, we're listening to pirate music tonight, and we're talking about the fact that life cannot be prescribed. You know, I think, hello Mink.
Burner, girl.
Thank you so much, Wayfaring Mink. I thought I turned that off. But thank you for those donations. I so appreciate it. Yeah. You know, there's no rules, right? That's the point. There's really no rules to how we can do any of this. There really aren't any rules to whether I stream here, whether I stream there, whether I'm on Instagram, whether I'm on TikTok, whether I'm on blah, 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 whether I'm on social media at all. There are no rules. There are no rules for any of the streaming stuff. There are no rules for life in general. Well, okay, there are rules. Pretending there are no rules is like pretending there are no races. Nobody, in fact, should be actually color blind. We all have different struggles that we go through in our lives, and so that's actually important to acknowledge. And in the same way, even if we're not going to be following everybody's rules, hello Karaoke Ken, we have to acknowledge that they're there. They're there, right? Our society has a lot of rules, and if you go back and you really look at the rules that have stood the test of time, the ones that have been there for a long, long time, what you'll see in common is that most of those rules are designed to keep people safe. And most of the good rules in society, most of the things that you see in the Bible or in the whatever, like in government, they're designed to help keep people safe. At least that was their original design. But we go to the point, hello, Eric, good to see you too. Choices with consequences. Yes, I agree with you 100% in the chat there, DL Grayson. Every choice that we make has consequences. That is the truth. And that's why when you see rules that are really good, they're designed to keep us safe, because they're designed to help us not have to deal with terrible, terrible consequences, right? Like murder. Murder's, not a thing you want to do. And it's not just because it's like morally something we can all agree on. It has terrible consequences that are not revocable. You can't walk away from that. You can't hit the undo button on that. And it's really important to remember when you're taking risks. We talked about the two-way door before. We talked about this idea of making choices, taking risks that might be a little bit out of your comfort zone. And the truth is, there's no one stopping you. There's no one stopping you but yourself. Yes, okay, maybe you've got a family. Maybe you've got friends. Maybe you've got a loved one, a significant other, a wife, a husband, a spouse of some sort. Maybe your choices, depending on how they're tied with other people, have significant consequences. That all depends on how you've set up your life and how you want to continue to set up your life. Hello, Oliverius. Oliverius asked if I had a new backdrop. I did actually get myself a couple of curtains. I have this lovely purple one here, and I have another green screen curtain that maybe you've seen before. I'm using my mic properly, so you'll have to tell me if that's better. I'm aiming for the blue light. Thank you so much for tweeting me out, Eric Walker. Appreciate that. Here's a funny example. Like, most people drink out of quote unquote normal water glasses, but there's no rule saying I have to drink out of a small water glass. In fact, this one is much better for me because this is huge and I tend to ration my water. So with this much, when it's up to here, like, I'll just drink a ton of water all the time because I don't feel like I'm gonna run out. This is really the best mug for me. Even though it's a beer mug and it takes up like basically my entire head. And people are always like, oh my God, that's the size of your head. Who cares? It's what I need to do. If the consequences for murder weren't so bad, there would be so many murders. We've all met someone and thought we don't like that person. That's true, D.L. Grayson. We need severe consequences for things like that. We need consequences. We need rules from society to protect us and to protect other people and to protect the general sacredness of life. But when your life is really sacred, that means you get to be the creative designer of your life. You don't have to do the things that everybody else has been doing for centuries. If you want to live in a tent on the beach, you can do that. That might be an interesting choice. I actually know somebody who did that quite some time ago. This music, I'm realizing, speaking of choices, is very repetitive. I'm going to skip it. We're going to keep the pirate music going, though, because I like the idea of being a pirate. I like the idea of pirating your life, doing things differently, not playing by all of the rules. My mother and father moved on to a sailboat for a year. It's something he always wanted. I think he likes to push the envelope a little bit. And now, like, in their 70s, they're just having a great time. They watch a lot of YouTube. They're really into homesteaders, and they don't have a lot of land, but they're growing things. They're growing lettuce, they're growing tomatoes, they're growing onions. My mom's like sending me pictures of heirloom tomatoes now. They're so cute. Did I see Monster? Did I not see Monster? Oh, Monster J, thank you so much for those donations. I'm sorry I didn't see them. Thank you, Monster J. I appreciate the heck out of you. And make sure that I can see those donations when they're popping up. Let's see. I think there's a way to make this mute, right? I used to know how to do this. I used to know how to do this. Properties? Nope. Well, we'll just see. It's all right. I'll try leaving that on for now. I might have to shut it off again. Oh my goodness, very much. Very much. And so anyway, yes, people calling each other sexy in the chat. I love it. You guys are wonderful humans, and I love how much you support each other. It makes me really happy. And that's a choice I've made. It's a choice I've made to try to be happy. I've been watching a bunch of like TV series recently. Now the pirate music is loud. Sometimes we make choices that we're like, ooh, I don't know that was the right choice for me. All right, I'm turning down the pirate music. So many distractions. I'm just so happy in my life. And sometimes I have a really tough time staying happy. And it's a problem for me. Millennials are screaming about the sea levels rising and your mom and dad just shrug. That's cool. We got a boat. There's a little bit of that. Honestly, I worry about my parents sometimes because they're in Florida and like everything in Florida is below sea level pretty much. But they have a boat. They can they can just hop on their boat now. They don't live on it anymore, but they could just hop on their boat if there's ever really a problem. Or they can come up and stay with me or my sister. But yeah, absolutely. And it's funny to have like an out of the box solution to life, right? So I've been, like I was saying, I've been watching a lot of TV lately, and someone recommended to me Mayor of Easttown, and I started watching it because Kate Winslet's awesome. And it's one of like 3 shows that I've tried to start recently where I'm just like, I start watching it and then I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, can I get into the show? Like, these people are so miserable all the time. I don't want to hang out with all these miserable people all the time. And that's a choice. Like, the people I surround myself with, the people I spend time with in real life, here online, they're very like overarchingly positive people. Not like toxically positive, not fake positivity, but like generally trying to make the world a better place, generally trying to be good for other humans. Like, that's a choice that we can make, to make other people's lives better, or to be focused on ourselves, or to be focused on the planet, or whatever actually you want. Like, this is your life. Have you ever read those choose your own adventure boats? I was just reading your comment, Eric Walker. I would love to live in a boat. You know, it's a funny thing, living on a boat. If you're with one other person, it can get kind of lonely, unless you're somebody who really enjoys being alone. And it has problems sometimes, right? Like, sometimes the boat has major issues that need to be fixed. And that's something you're kind of committing to. It's a big deal. And you got to think about, like you said, Grayson, you know, you got to think about all of the consequences to the choices that you try to make in life. I made a big choice. I could tell this story. Yes, I can tell this story. So I try to help other people because I don't like to help myself. Well, in helping people, you do help yourself, because you know, the more love you shed on other people, the more love is showered back on you. It's just kind of a magical thing. It happens. It just happens that way. The more you give, the more you receive. It's a beautiful constant. Dick Van Dyke and Andy Griffith are 2 of the highest rated shows. They didn't drag you down. They lifted people up. Yes. Yes, 100%. That's why I like things like Steven Universe. Steven Universe really like lifts people up. Star Trek. I love Star Trek because even though they deal with difficult situations, they're always trying to give humanity sort of a promising view of how our future could be in an ideal world. Hello, Cerise. Good to see you. Nice to see you bouncing in today. Happy Monday. I hope you're all starting your week out in a beautiful way. You know, I'm really glad that I chose to do these Mythbuster Mondays on Mondays. It would be weird to do a Mythbuster Monday on a Saturday, but it's like kind of a nice way to start the week. So the story I want to tell. Being an opera singer, when you're a soloist, right? A lot of soloists will travel for work. But when you're an ensemble singer, like I mostly am, I do a lot of solo work too, but the vast majority of my work so far as an opera singer has been as an ensemble singer. I'm letting go of most of that, if not all of that, currently. By the end of May, at the moment, I don't have any more ensemble contracts, but I really loved doing ensemble work. It was really meaningful. It was really fulfilling. And I decided I wanted to do more of it. You kind of blooped earlier, far from bouncing. Oh, I hope Hope you're getting a lot of rest. Cerise, I know you had a nice massage this week. Our friend Cerise is dealing with a little bit of physical difficulty. I think that's an understatement. Sending you a lot of love, my friend. I hope you get back to bouncing. I'm not quite back to bouncing myself, but I am swimming. One choice at a time. So essentially, I decided that I wanted to be able to put more money into retirement as a singer. Now, this was before the pandemic. This was before I recently decided to pivot more. Well, I think this was even before I decided to pivot toward coaching. So I really was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that I focus. I want to focus. I don't want to stop doing ensemble work. But unlike most ensemble singers, I'm going to be willing to move around. I'm going to be willing to go to different places. I want to audition. So I made like a whole spreadsheet of all the big opera companies in the country and which ones paid the best, which ones paid the most into retirement. You know, nobody knows that this is actually how I picked the companies I wanted to sing for. But it's true. I did it all by the numbers. And also, like, where was nicer? I mean, Chicago has some good opportunities for ensemble singers, Chicago Lyric Opera, but it's really cold there. So I didn't actually audition. But I chose San Francisco, Los Angeles, DC, and New York. And I started auditioning for all 4 of those places. I've been singing at the Metropolitan Opera since 2007. I started auditioning for San Francisco Opera, and the first year I auditioned, they sent me a letter that was like, hey, we don't have space for you right now, but please audition again next year. We really enjoyed having you here. We want to hear you again. And I was so smitten with San Francisco. I thought, yes, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try again. And then I went to audition for them again the following year during the Paradise Fires. And all of San Francisco, that beautiful Golden Gate Park, everything was just covered in smoke. I couldn't breathe. I was wearing a mask. Everybody, all the hotel workers were on strike, so they were running around with like megaphones, and it felt like the end of the world. And I was like, you know what? This is not where I want to spend my time right now. I love San Francisco, and also their scenario wasn't the best for me. So I decided like that was going to be the last audition I did for them. So San Francisco came off the list, but DC, LA, and New York were still on the list. And so I went to DC, and I started auditioning for Washington, DC, and I got that gig. And that was a big, big deal for me in a lot of ways. They pay pretty well, but not like well enough to give up all your other work and move yourself and pay for transportation and places to live. It was a little tricky, right? So I was like, how do I do this? Because I really want to do this. And I want it to be worth my while. I want to make money on this opportunity. I want to put money into my retirement, and I really want to do this. So I found couchsurfing.com. Have you guys ever heard of or tried couchsurfing.com? Oh my God, can I just tell you, it opened up my world. I have goosebumps right now. It opened up my world in this really fascinating way. So the first gig I had was in the fall of 2018, I believe it was. And we did La Traviata at the Kennedy Center with Washington National Opera. It was so much fun. I met so many wonderful freaking people, and it was a great contract. It was actually several rehearsals a week, so it was really worth me staying there for a concentrated amount of time. I think there was maybe one gig that I came home to New York for, but for the most part, I was in DC for 2 straight months. And I was so lucky. I found a host on couchsurfing.com who let me stay with him for free. It started out with me taking care of his plants while he was away for a while. So I had this gorgeous apartment on Logan Circle for like really expensive neighborhood, gorgeous apartment. Like this place had 2 fireplaces. It was so nice. I was there by myself for probably about a month, and then I was with him. He came back, but there was plenty of space, and hosted me for another month, which was just so nice. I got to stay there the whole time. He was really a smart dresser. He had a whole closet full of 3-piece suits. Really amazing dude. Am I going there again? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. So I bought him a pocket square. It was a $95 pocket square, but he loved it, to thank him for letting me stay with him. And, I got to say, like, $95 pocket square compared with 2 months of rent. Like, that was a no-brainer. He even, like, he bought these pre-made meals and sometimes just, like, wouldn't eat them. So he's just like, hey, eat my food, please. Like, just please. Like, it was so generous and so lovely. And then the second time I was there in the spring of 2019. And that was for Faust. And being at the Metropolitan Opera, I often don't get to do standard operas. The ones that like every opera company does. They're usually reserved for just the full-time chorus. So I got to do Faust for the first time ever, and it was like the first time I started doing opera. It was just so great, and I was meeting all these people, and it was so wonderful, and I was having such a good time. And that time I was going back and forth, so I ended up staying with like 5 or 6 different hosts. I stayed a lot with this really, really wonderful diplomat named Jonathan, who was just super nice. He let me crash with him while he was learning Portuguese, because he was getting ready to be sent off on an assignment to Brazil. Now, not to sugarcoat it, I had some weird experiences too. I stayed with one person who kept trying to get me to like let him massage me. And he had like this whole tub of like coconut oil in his bathroom, and he was like, can I please give you a massage? I'm trained by my grandfather to give massages. You should let me give you a massage. Let me give you, he said it like 100 times, and I kept saying no. And so finally, like, he kept telling me about this girl who had given him a really bad rating on couchsurfing.com. And I was like, well, did you ask to give her a massage? He's like, yeah, and she really liked it. And I was like, well, did she say no a bunch of times before she said yes? Because you probably should start taking no for an answer. And then he didn't talk to me for like I was only there for another like 12 hours. He didn't talk to me for the rest of the time I was there. That was a little awkward. There was like this like, okay, so when is this new host of mine going to hit on me, and how is he going to react if I turn him down? There was a little bit of that here and there. Not most of the time. Most of the time I was very lucky. I stayed with another really sweet guy who is an urban planner, like right on the waterfront, and he wasn't there most of the time I was there either. And I got to stay in this like gorgeous, gorgeous building with senators, like right on the waterfront, and go swimming in the pool and the gym. It was just so nice. Hi, Weesty. Good to see you tonight. And I never would have met those people. I would have never experienced all those different places. I got to know DC really well because I was staying in all these different neighborhoods. It was actually really fun, and I miss DC terribly, actually. It's nice talking about this because like I really miss doing that. I miss that community. I really loved doing that very much, and it was painful for me actually this fall. You asked Eric if I was going back there, and in fact, no. Sadly, the following year, I had to turn down a contract that would have been interrupted by the pandemic anyway, but I had to turn down a contract because I was busy here at the Metropolitan Opera, and the contracts just conflicted. And then I was going to audition for them again this fall, and I decided that it was time to take my life in a different direction and do less singing. But I also auditioned for Los Angeles Opera while I was doing all of this, and I got the gig at Los Angeles Opera. I was so excited. I was going to do the same thing with couch surfing, and then the pandemic hit. I never did get to do the opera in LA, but I did. They had a paycheck protection plan. That's funny, Patrick. I like your icon. What pandemic? The one I was suffering from in December. Yeah, so I didn't actually get to do that gig, but because they had the pandemic protection plan, that paycheck protection plan, the PPP or whatever it was called, we were paid 75% of that contract. I never even got to sing for them, but I was paid, which is really, really nice. And I got more money put into my retirement, not a ton, but more during that time. And even though now I'm making different choices, because again, I get to keep designing my life. Nobody prescribes this for me. Everybody, when I started doing this, was like, "You're doing what? Like, that sounds crazy." And then I would tell people more about the story, and it's like, "Oh my God, that sounds amazing. What an incredible time." So we're having a conversation right now, Patrick, and I'd like you to, if you decide to come back, you're muted for 5 minutes. If you decide to come back, I'd like to ask you to please keep your conversation on topic. Thank you very much. Anyway, so I'm the only one who's allowed to get distracted here. So anyway, yeah, I'm really, really, really grateful that I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something completely different and I'm going to design it myself. I made those spreadsheets. I picked the places I want to work. I auditioned for them. I booked the jobs, and I found a way to make it profitable for me in the way that I wanted to try it. And I can't wait, honestly, for it to feel safe for me to be able to go out and couch surf again, because I actually really, really, really loved doing that. It was super fun. It was awesome meeting people. Highly encourage anybody who feels comfortable doing it now or who wants to do it, further on in the future. Couchsurfing.com is an amazing resource. It's a wonderful way to get to meet people. I actually had dinner with one guy in DC who didn't host me, but we had connected on the app, and he was just telling me about all of his experiences. He hosts like almost every night. He had like some of the gymnastics team staying with him once for like the nationals or something in DC. It's a wild thing. Like, he had all these presents from all these people from all over the world who just would come and stay with him. What a wonderful way to meet people and understand new cultures and try new things. So like, it was such a great thing. And now I'm making different choices. As a lot of you know, I'm getting ready to become a flight attendant. That's going to be a whole new world for me. But I'm sure I'm going to do it differently than this flight attendant or that flight attendant. I'm going to find my way to do it. I'm going to stay where I want to stay. I'm already thinking, it's really hard living in New York City in January and February. It's freaking cold. It's dark all the time. I love this city, but like, it is hard here in the winter. I'm already thinking like, what can I do next winter? Can I sublet out my apartment? Can I go stay in like California or Florida or Arizona or somewhere and work there? Maybe I can just like sublet my own place somewhere else where I can enjoy the winter and try to get all my shifts out of that airport. Life is short. It's also long if you don't make your own path. So if life is feeling frustrating for you, I would like to just encourage you and myself to make different choices. To remember that no matter what your friends around you are doing, no matter what your family thinks you should be doing, no matter what some school or religion taught you should be doing, if you're not hurting other people and you're able to keep yourself safe and happy, make whatever choices you want. Eric, thank you so much for those donations. I really appreciate you. Step out of your comfort zone and find, you know what? Find a new comfort zone. Design it. When was the last time that you made a vision board of what you want your year to look like? When was the last time that you journaled for an hour about what you want your life to look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? When was the last time you worked with a coach to see what might be possible beyond the boundaries you've set for yourself? Doesn't have to be me. Could be me. This is an opportunity for you. Every day is an opportunity for you to think outside the box, to find a new solution to whatever problem you might be facing, whether it's winter depression on my end, whether it's, you know, not feeling like you have enough friends, not feeling like you have enough connection, wanting a new job, wanting a new career, feeling stagnant in your relationship, wanting to mix things up a bit or find a new passion between the two of you, looking for a new partner if you're alone, you know. It is. Absolutely, Eric Walker says that's my fear, stepping out of my comfort zone. That is exactly why it's called a comfort zone. And the only way to get out of that fear, to get over that fear, is to keep stepping out of your comfort zone, one thing at a time. Find something that makes you just a little bit uncomfortable, that's just a little bit different or weird or strange for you. See what you might really like. That's my jam. And even sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, Eric Walker, sometimes I'm afraid too. I've been practicing this for years, and sometimes I'm afraid to step out of my comfort zone too. So you're not alone. All it takes is practice and a little bit of design. So I just want to encourage you all tonight. You are all creative beings. Whether somebody's told you differently or not, you are all creative beings. You are all resourceful. You are all naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, every single one of you. So try something new. Get out of your normal routine. I love it too, Mink. It's I don't know, try a new flavor of gum. Start with anything. But the point is, you don't have to do what everybody else thinks you need to do. This is the last tissue box. It's this like awesome, somebody said, hey, I want to I want to help the planet. I want to make something that's going to help the planet. These are reusable cloth tissues that I blow my nose in, throw them in the laundry, wash them, and then refold them and reuse them. It's in a little silicone thing. If we don't have people thinking differently, if we don't have people going like, hey, wait a minute, do I really need to like blow my nose with something I throw out all the time? They didn't used to. Why do we need to do that now? If we didn't have people thinking outside of the box, this is a box. If we didn't have people thinking outside of the box in that way, thinking differently, our planet's going to be in sorry shape. We need people thinking out of the box all the time. You would love to do whitewater rafting, Eric? That sounds amazing. So here's my challenge for you today. Find out where you can do whitewater rafting, where you'd like to do whitewater rafting. If there's a place near you that offers whitewater rafting, and if not, where the closest place, if you need a close place to afford to go, is that you can do it, or if you can afford to go elsewhere, where would you most like to go? And plan out all the steps you need to make it happen. What do you need? How much money do you need? Is there like a 3-day weekend or a 1-day adventure that you can pay to have to do whitewater rafting, to have like an instructor with you so that you're doing it right, so that you don't like have a major problem? Or do you have any friends who can do it? Ask yourself these questions. What do I need? What are my resources to make this happen? How can I make this happen? Do I need to start saving up money today? Do I need to squirrel away my lemons? How do I make this happen for myself? I want to challenge you to do that and give yourself a deadline. I want to do this by July 5th. I want to go whitewater rafting by July 5th this year. Or I want to go whitewater rafting because I'm going to need to save up more money by Labor Day 2023. You know, pick whatever is feasible for you and make it happen. We don't all have to just like let our bucket lists sit there unfinished. We can actually achieve the things we want to do in life. I went to Fiji and my mom was like, "What are you doing? Why are you going to Fiji?" And I was like, "Because I've wanted to go since I was 19 years old." She's like, "But it's going to be so expensive. It's going to cost you like $10,000. And I was like, I don't have $10,000. I'm not going to spend $10,000 on vacation. Stop worrying about that. Like, it's not going to happen." And I got my resources, had a friend who had a really wonderful travel agent, and I made it happen. And it was freaking great. Changed my life. Cerise says, rampant convenience and consumerism has led us away from, quote, how it used to be, for good and bad. This is true. It's true that the handkerchief has gone by the wayside because tissues are very convenient, right? But also, we need to start thinking beyond how it used to be as well. They're two sides of that coin, right? Like, a lot of what we do is because it's what everybody's always done. Well, some of these things, we need to get innovative. We need to get inventive. We need to get explorative with our lives. Try different things. Give ourselves reasons to wake up every day. What are the things you most want to do? And how can you make those things happen? I want to challenge anybody who's still listening to this to spend at least 10 to 20 minutes, bonus if you do an hour, extra credit if you do an hour, journaling tonight before you go to bed. Give yourself a list of the things you want to do that you haven't considered, that you haven't tried, that have just seemed too out of reach for you. And I want you to pick at least 1 or 2 things that you'll commit to doing in the next 6 to 9 months. Gives you a good window for weather. I have been promising myself a trip to the Alps for skiing for a long time. I haven't done it because I guess I want to go with somebody. I'm going to put that on my list for tonight. I'm going to start brainstorming tonight how to get myself skiing in the Alps. I don't have the money to throw at it right now, but by next year I will. As a flight attendant, I will. And I'll be able to travel for free. So I think what I really need is a travel partner who likes to ski. So I'm going to start brainstorming on that tonight. Meg says, I want to get away from where I currently live without worrying about those I leave behind and without being scared. Oh, yes. That's a huge one. It's funny, I wanted to live in New York for the longest time. And it wasn't until after I did my master's that I got a job here and was able to move here. I don't know that I could have, I don't know. I don't think I could have moved here straight from where I was living before. It's true, things have been hard. We're finding ways to make them easier, even with the pandemic. It's true. And thank goodness. Mink, I hear you. And I wonder, for moving, right? Because moving's a big step. Maybe there's a baby step that you can take. Couch surfing is actually not a terrible idea. I wonder if you could arrange a stay with somebody for a week just to give it a try, to get out of your house for a week and try living somewhere else. Or maybe you could sublet. What if you sublet a place? What if you sublet an apartment or a room in a house or something for a month just to try it out and see what that's like? Or you could, if you wanted to get your own place, but make sure that you commit to being back home with your family a couple of 2 to 3 days a week at first, so that you don't feel like you're leaving everyone behind. You can design this. You can design this so it's not such a huge leap. You really can. Oh my goodness. Mink and Monster as roommates. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Malpeasy, thank you so much for the ice cream. Good to see you, man. Oh my goodness. Mink and Monster living together. Whoa. That would be so exciting. It's just one of those things. I'm glad you're starting to ask the questions. And that's what really matters. When it comes to this sort of thing, the first step is questioning the way it's always been. And realizing it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. To everybody on Facebook, if you're actually there, I'm sorry I wasn't able to see the chat, and on LinkedIn and on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream. I just want to say thank you for joining me. And I'll see you again next Monday on another Mythbuster Monday.